Day has arrived where history will either be made or repeated. South Africa take on Australia in the second semi-final of the 2023 Cricket World Cup, with Eden Gardens in Kolkata hosting the clash. The last time these two nations met at this stage of a World Cup, South African hearts were shattered as the Aussies reached the final on a technicality following that unforgettable blunder. Now, none of the players who will represent the Proteas or Australia today were involved in that 1999 drama, but they will appreciate the significance of the occasion. Joining me now to talk about today's encounter is a man who featured for the Proteas in the 1996 World Cup, where we reached the quarterfinals, Paul Adams. A very good morning to you, Jorge. Thank you so much for your time. Now, you're a coach, so for you, strategy is first and foremost. But you're also a former player, somebody who, was a receiver of that strategy and someone that had to go implement it on the field. How do you approach this match? How do you approach the toss, if you win it, of course? Because that is, I think, what both captains will be wanting.
Good morning, all. Yes, I think it's a big occasion for South Africa as a nation, as well as cricket in South Africa. As you mentioned earlier, the 99 World Cup was the last time these two teams met, and we've got all this stigma around the semi-finals and how it goes. But this team has been playing absolutely superb cricket. For the past week, they know that they've qualified for the semi-final. They're feeling confident. You watch the videos on social media, you see their faces, they look a happy bunch and just so relaxed and really comfortable about what they're going to go do and go play out there. So it's important as management and as the head of the coaching staff, and that is to really just make sure each individual is very confident about their game and that they don't change whatever they've been doing to bring them success in this tournament. They have been absolutely magic. Look, one or two little hiccups, but now, like you said, it's D-Day for the Proteas, and for them to go out there, take the pressure off, play how they've been playing. They've got a great formula that they've been going through at the moment, is starting to set that base up front, and they've got the powerhouse batting of Markram, Heinrich Klaasen, and Miller towards the back. It's been powering and hitting those sixes towards the back end and powering away. So, and the most important thing is, before this World Cup, South Africa played against Australia and had the hood over them. So it's important that their confidence really comes out and show them. But, knockout game, it's semi-final, anything can happen. And I think the Protea players have come out and said anything can happen. But they're happy where they are in the space, and they're going out there to win and play as best as they can. And we're out here showing our support. We're all with them. It's very important that we really sit down. I'm just going on my run, and then I'm settling down for the day.
Now, you are Themba Bavuma, and you are, you've got the biggest responsibility first up. Before you even, go out onto the field with pads and bat, you need to hopefully win the toss. That's usually up to the universe. And if you do, you need to decide what will be best for your team on the day. A lot has been spoken about the Kolkata weather and whether or not there'll be any rain or whether there'll be overcast. And we've seen what batting first has done. We saw it yesterday with India putting almost 400 on the board with some very aggressive batting up front. If you are Themba Bavuma, what do you do when you've won the toss?
I think the formula that South Africa's followed is to bat first. And those wickets that they're playing on will probably get tougher. It's been played over the whole tournament. So South Africa will probably look to bat first. It's just that the weather is playing a big factor, and we know if there is going to be a reduction of overs, often it's sometimes better to chase, because the overs will reduce. You'll have wickets in hand and kind of know what type of score you need to set and go there. But I'm sure South Africa will be backing themselves with the formula they've been going very, very well on. They've had the hiccups when they've had the pressure. It's been when chasing. And those pressure of scoreboard pressure is something that's real. But they've sort of worked through it, and they're very much aware of it. But this Proteas team seems to be very, 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 very confident in what they want to do. Particularly in, taking wickets up front has been key. So Marco Jansen with that new ball's been very key for them. And Gerald Coetzee is coming, but they've been playing around with the selection in terms of either Shamsi or Coetzee, just on conditions of the surface they'll be playing on. So out there in Eden Gardens, they'll have to have a look at and see what's going to happen. of the surface and make a call on which player plays, the spinner or the extra seamer. But Gerald's been taking wickets and been very attacking, and that's the name of the game, and taking out those big hitters and big players so that they don't chase those big scores of 400 and that.
Australia historically have been to 7 Cricket World Cup finals. They've won 5 of them, but none of these guys that are playing now, have been part of much of those historic occasions. In fact, the last time, of course, they had won was 2015. A lot of these guys were not there in 2015, if any of them were there in 2015. Does history really, will it play any factor in this particular encounter where you've got a captain for the Proteas who's never played a World Cup until this World Cup? You've got a number of these players who've not won an ODI World Cup, for Australia that is, coming into this encounter looking to really do that once again. Does history play any kind of factor in matches like this?
Look, I think uncharted water for most of everyone. So history is just, it's history, and it brings pride for the nation and something as a team you're wanting to aspire and to keep hold of as a team. But individually, the pressure of playing in finals, they've only done it probably in their domestic games or in some franchise cricket around the world. So they understand pressure of playing these knockout matches, which they've done before. But obviously, it's a big occasion of a World Cup. It's uncharted water. So any team that can handle and be calm and really just back their skill. Sometimes we people, when they're under pressure, they do something very different out of their nature. And it's so important that the Proteas really keep their camp really calm. And just follow your formula you've been doing. It's been working. Don't change those different things, those small little things, and take care of them through the whole process of the game.
What have you made of Rob Walter? There are articles on global websites and the likes talking about how he's an unknown man that is now essentially rearing his head, and the world is taking note of him, considering what he's done with the Proteas, beating Australia in the lead up to a World Cup, beating Australia again in the World Cup, smashing England and New Zealand in a World Cup, and now booking a place in the semi-finals without even playing a game to get into the semi-finals. What have you made of Rob Walter's leadership?
Yeah, I've known Rob all the years. He's been in that Proteas setup as a strength and conditioning coach firstly. And then got into his coaching side and with the Titans, and then made the venture over to New Zealand. And when he was in New Zealand, he worked for Otago Volts, who was a struggling side. So he always had to find a way and how they can perform and go out there. And he's come into the Proteas setup, put himself some good management around him, Eric Simons, JP Tumini. And it's key that they sort of just keep that environment good. And he's one that's probably instilling a lot of confidence within the team, creating a good environment where each player feels they can perform and give them what they need. I was fortunate to be part of their winter program as well, where they weren't playing a lot of cricket. There was a lot of time off, but this ODI side has been working hard. They had camps up in Durban, where they were working on very specific things in their game that they can improve on. And you can see the fruits of that coming through. And it's not often you can get those camps because of the busy schedules, but they made use of what was there, and they're out there now in India and putting good performances in, and wishing them all the luck. And that's so important that we're really backing them today.
Most definitely. Paul, I can only but hope that you and the rest of this country, come the end of this day, are speaking of yourselves as Cricket World Cup finalists, and hopefully come the end of Sunday, Cricket World Cup champions. Go on and enjoy your day, Paul. Thank you so much for making the time for us. That is